शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। एक शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। सब देखोगे अंतर मन में, राम को क्षण भर देखो। सब में राम ही राम समाए।
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We were on the chapter Use and Abuse of Religion. It's a very important idea for us to grasp because we must know what we are doing. It is the religion, some people like it, some people don't like it. Those who like it do something about it, and those who don't like it, it doesn't come in their framework at all. But there's a very little explanation of what is it you're trying to do when you're in religion. So, since that's not there, we're very casual about it. We don't look upon it as a systematic study. We don't look upon it as a technology we need to get. Everybody in this country knows everything about religion. It's a very, very strange phenomenon. Nice also, because at least the thought of religion is there, but it's very casual. It's not considered in any kind of systematic, technological manner. And so therefore, there are only three things people do. What are the three things that they can do? Because they're not going about in any systematic or rational manner. When people approach religion, there are only three things they can do. What are those three things?
Following rituals,
Following
or devotional, being devotional like in songs or prayers, and for their curiosity, they read or try to gain knowledge.
Yes, very good. So basically looking for three things out of it. Either you're hoping, I will do something. Putra Kameshti Yagna. You know, Putra Kameshti Yagna, you don't have a child and so you do a Yagna and then you get a child or something. If you're a king, then you do Ashwamedha Yagna. Why? Because you want larger kingdom. So every time you approach religion, you approach it with a sense of what am I getting from it? So what will you get from it? Some material well-being. Okay, my leg is not all right. God, please make my leg okay. My son is not doing well in college. Please make him do it. I am not making profits in business. Please give me profit. Something, some material gain you. If not that, then you go to the second type, which is I'm disturbed about something. And I want God, please give me a calm mind. I'll go to the temple, I'll feel nice. I'll go to Tirth Yatra, I'll feel nice. I want to feel nice. I want that feel good factor. Second. Third type. Oh, Upanishads are so old and ancient. What do they say? Let's find out. How is that different from what the Bible says or Quran says? Let's find out. What are all the various world religions? It's very interesting. I know a science professor, and he finds all this very interesting. He doesn't believe in any of it, but he finds it interesting. He says, "Oh, and I like to hear all these various philosophies. What are you going to do with it?" It just I like to know about it. So curiosity is the third reason why we approach religiosity. All of these are the abuse of religion because we've not figured out for what is it really meant. What are we supposed to do with it? Is it an entertainment? If it's an entertainment, why is it better than going to the pub? Why is it better than going to what is that thing these people like bowling alley? Well, you have been to the bowling alley. Everyone wants to go to the bowling alley. So how is it better than going to the bowling alley? I believe bowling alley is a great business. People are making a lot of money out of it, apparently. I don't know. You think we should also put up a bowling alley and see if we can get funds for the university like that? So people are just going and enjoying themselves, whatever thing they're enjoying. They go to the pub. In nowadays world, have you noticed there are no restaurants anymore? Now they're all pubs. What exactly is the difference between a restaurant and a pub is not very clear to me, but everybody is going to the pub nowadays. I guess it's what you wear to the pub. I don't know what the difference is. So everybody is going and entertaining themselves in some way or the other. Those who like religion entertain themselves with religion. So why is doing this any better? Is it better? Why is it better? Mahesh, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to ask you that, Krishna says in the Gita about the 4 types of people who approach him. So are they the same thing that you are mentioning? That is he also referring to religion as a...
Yes, same thing, same idea.
Okay, thank you.
Throughout the scriptures, you'll find this idea. You find it in the Gita, you find it in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Remember, this book is only a compilation of everything that is there in the scripture. Not saying anything new or different. It's not intending to say anything new or different. Exactly the same thing. Except that it's said in a language which is contemporary, easier for us to understand. So, what have we done? Religion is not casual. It has to be learned like you would learn any subject. You begin somewhere, you go somewhere, then you go somewhere, then you go somewhere. It is an order in it. It's not just anything. Jo man mein aaya. What do you want to study? I will study Uddhav Gita. Why do you want to study Uddhav Gita? Acha hai na? That's no reason to study it. That's the reason. Why this book first? Why that book then? What do you do with it? And very strange phenomenon. I don't know if you all have ever noticed, but often I see this that as a person improves his karma, his jnana improves. I don't know if you ever seen. You will find sometimes in class that people are suddenly giving better answers or suddenly seem to know more. And if you go and investigate, very often their karma is improved. So sometimes you don't need more jnana. Maybe you need some more karma. You need it. There's a technology involved. It's not just random. I've read so many books, I'm going to evolve. So, what do I need to do when there is a system? Today, there is nobody putting on their video other than Aparna. So, why are you all in behind Parda? At least some people. I think Deepraj, you're traveling. No? Very good. What is this? Somebody I should have to speak to. Otherwise, it'll be a personal conversation between Aparna and me. Okay, thank you. Deep Raj, how about those people who think that the purpose of religion is to go to some good afterlife? These people have a purpose in their mind, but it may be superstitious. They study and perform their rituals systematically to go to some afterlife. It's the same idea, Deep Raj. What are they looking for? Mental solace. The good afterlife means one of two things. It means either you will go to the court of Indra and all the dancing damsels will dance in front of you. Okay? So, I mean, you are enjoying the objects of the world, but much better ones. Or the other option is you go there because it's so miserable here, but in heaven you'll be so happy. So afterlife or this life, point is continues to be the same. Okay. So what did we studying again? Okay, that religion is not casual. You have to understand its system. It is not meant for either achieving some material gain or emotional, peace and calm or intellectual curiosity. It's not meant for any of this. What is it meant for? It is meant for going to the self. This answer can often be a crazy answer because you don't know what the self is. So you don't know where it's supposed to take you. So therefore, they give you many explanations of it. Like they may say universal love, universal peace, universal knowledge. It's explaining that state in terms of things that we already want, but just more of it. That's not really an explanation. We have to, but what we can understand is that we need to step by step just grow up as human beings, become more mature, become more stable, become more independent of the world. If all the time I'm dependent upon the world to make me feel good, that I will feel bad is my destiny. Isn't it? Because the world cannot cater to me at all. The world doesn't exist for me. I'm a part of this world. I'm not its ruler. I'm not its governor. And everybody else in this world is as important as I am. So how can it be that only I will be catered to? Sometimes it will be your way, sometimes it will be my way, sometimes it will be neither's way. So I have to learn to stabilize my own self. Things will be what they are. And as I mature, I just begin to see the world for what it is. So what are we going to use religion for? We're going to use it to grow in self-sufficiency. We're going to use it to grow in independent happiness. We're going to use it to grow in service. When I'm going to be on my deathbed, I'm going to be lying there. I'm about to die now. Got 5 minutes to die. What are going to be my thoughts? All the regrets or the satisfaction that I have done here what I came to do? What is it going to be? And if I want that satisfaction, then I better function now, because I won't be able to do anything then. So I must have some very real understanding of what my spiritual development is taking me to. Okay, in theory, what is the answer? To reach the self. But now the self may not be something we're grasping, and our goal cannot be something which is in the air. So it has to be something that to me is real. First, you're going to fix that, whatever that is, and remember that at all times. Then you use the technology of religion. What is the technology of religion? First, you understand there are many, many, many things involved. What did he say? Spiritual disciplines are varied. You have a wide buffet in front of you. So many things you can do, right? You can go to Islam, you can go to Christianity, you can go to Hinduism, you can go to some African religion, I don't know. There are a wide variety to choose from. Whichever one of these you choose, then within it you will have a lot of variety. Suppose you say, I want to be Christian. Then you can do this. Are you Protestant? Are you Catholic? Are you some other denomination? Everybody will have multiple. If you choose Islam, then you want, what is this?
Shia and Sunni.
What, Bori, so many different things you can choose from. Sufi, so many things you can choose from. Right? So similar in every religion. This is true. What we are discussing here is true of religion. Remember that. That means it covers every religion, whichever one you're talking about. So everyone will give you a big buffet. Now you have to choose which one. How will you choose which one? First, you understand what is available and what each thing is used for. So once you figured that out, then what happens? You decide, what am I? You understood what is religion, now you understand what am I. Understanding what am I means understanding my
Swadharma.
Real self.
very good. Understanding my Swadharma. What is Swadharma? My
Inner nature.
nature. Correct. Each one of us must know what is my nature. So how do you know nature? You distinguish, am I physical or emotional or intellectual? Physical means I love action. Emotional means I'm all into feelings. इसने मेरा हाथ तोड़ दिया, उसने मेरा हाथ जोड़ दिया. I'm all into feelings. All right. Or I'm intellectual. Third, that means I'm always into some kind of analysis. I'm always analyzing something, saying, oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? This is how we can, or this is why things happen. कोई काम करना नहीं है, so बोलना है. बोलना है means you analyze it. Right? So 3 types of people. And all of us have some of these also. So first we analyze our Swadharma and choose a spiritual path in accordance to that Swadharma. This is the system we follow. You understand what is the religion you have chosen, religion or philosophy, whatever it is you have chosen, and then you understand yourself, you understand what the whole perspective of religion is, then you understand yourself and pick from that, whatever you're picking from, what most suits your nature. Now, your nature consists of 2 aspects. One is what you are, and second one is where you are. You could be a physical person. Now, this physical person may be at 10% of human development or at 80% of human development. Physical means he's action oriented. Similarly, emotional person. Emotional person can be at 10% development or 80% development. Similarly, intellectual could be at 10% or 80%. So you have to know what you are and secondly, where you are. Now, you can't put in percentages because you don't know what 100% is. So you can't put percentage, but you must have a general understanding of how mature or immature you are. Meaning how much you get affected by the world, how much you consider other people's interests, how much you stay satisfied. So 2 things you need to know. What you are, where you are. What you are is your analysis of physical, emotional, intellectual. Where you are is your analysis of spiritual development. How much do you think you are? You don't have to put a number, but you must know basically your mental state. Right. Mira. In this case, we have to operate on our vasanas. Correct. Can it be classified as likes and dislikes also? No. Vasanas. Where are you, Meera? When you ask a question, at least you have to put on the video, okay? Meera and the team have successfully issued another, not issued yet, but completed another edition of our journal. So soon you all will all have access to it. See what they've done. Meera's also written a very nice article. Okay, so Meera, in this case, we have to operate on our vasanas. We don't have to, we always do. You have no option but to operate on your vasana. Can this be classified as likes and dislikes? No, because you have an option with your likes and dislikes. Vasanas, when you're talking of Swadharma, we're talking about your field of activity. Like, are you action oriented, emotion oriented, or intellection oriented? It doesn't mean strong intellect, it just means you're intellect oriented. That means you like physics or mathematics or something. You're intellect oriented. An intellect oriented person may work on likes and dislikes. An emotional person may not. Okay? So, what I am in terms of my Swadharma is just my fields of functioning. In what area do I function? Like, I'm a housewife, let us say. So, as a housewife, that's my Swadharma. But I have a choice now as a housewife to function on likes and dislikes or function on a vision. Okay? So, if you want to classify it as likes and dislikes, the only way you can is by saying a combination of every like and dislike. All of it put together. But you cannot act based on it. You have to act based on Swadharma, right? So it's the combination. Is that clear? So, first you choose, first you understand. Go to gallery. Okay. First you understand what is the whole system of relation. Then you understand what am I. When you're understanding what you are, you have to understand two things. What are these two things?
What you
What
are.
you are,
And
where you are.
and where you are. What you are refers to physical, emotional, intellectual. Where you are refers to your level of maturity. Please do not believe that an intellectual is more mature than a physical person or an emotional person. There's no such rule. Because the intellectual also will at one stage be at 0% of development and at one stage 100%. Emotional also same and physical also same. Now, if you don't believe me, you watch these people coming to discuss things on television. They've collected information, so they're intellect oriented. Otherwise, why would they collect all that information? Right? But do they talk sense? That shows that maturity levels are low. Isn't it? Haven't you heard of two intellectuals fighting away merrily? In open, in public, having a very public spat. So, maturity and Swadharma have not got anything to do with each other. Right? So now let's see. Who will read the next paragraph? So remember that performing your Swadharmic activities are one of the essential aspects of living a correct life. In the material world, you become successful by choosing your Swadharma. In the spiritual world, it works exactly the same way. Right? So now let's go further. Who will read this paragraph?
Shall I read?
Please.
The first and foremost phase of spiritual training is the diagnosis of one's inner constitution. Before you take up a spiritual path, you must ascertain the nature of your constitution. The inner nature is determined by the varying strength of the mind and intellect. When the mind is more developed than your intellect, you are classified as emotional. Whereas when your intellect is more developed than your mind, then you are intellectual. Balanced in both, you are active. And there are broad disciplines of devotion, knowledge and action described for the three categories. It's the same thing like what you are explaining. You need to understand what is my constitution. And accordingly, I need to classify myself in that category. And when I classify myself in these two or three categories, then I need to what percentage of it I am in fitting in, and that balances your constitution, and you act accordingly.
Yeah, very good. So first you determine your swadharma in terms of these three things. Right now, just a small, I don't know if you all are familiar with this, we've studied it before, but for those who were not there when we did it then, let's briefly go through the categories of the three constitutions. The first constitution is an intellectual constitution where whenever you look at something, whenever you experience something, you meet some incident in life, your tendency is to think about it, analyze it, bring in lots of information about it. This is your tendency with reference to it. That means you're predominantly intellectual. The same situation, if you're predominantly emotional, you will look upon it with a very emotional view. For instance, an accident has taken place. The intellectual will say, oh, the accident took place because we didn't have a mirror so that these people could see each other, or it took place because this is drunken driving or something. You make some cause-effect relationships you try to figure out. What will the emotional person do? Same accident. What will the emotional person do?
Look at how the people are affected and who's hurt, who's
Please put it emotionally, Mahesh.
Maybe he'll start crying, he'll get panicked.
Yes, he'll start crying. He'll say, "Oh my God, look at these poor people, how much they're suffering." Or, "Oh my God, this can happen to me, how horrible." It's an emotional reaction, right? There's a third category of person who, to some extent, will think of, why does this happen? And to some extent, will feel the emotion, the pain, or whatever did happen. But neither are very high. So this combination, when he is neither fully intellectual nor fully emotional, sort of combines to make him do something. If he only had the thought of why this happened, he will feel incomplete. If he only had feelings, he will feel incomplete. So how does he get his satisfaction? By going and doing something. He's the kind of guy who will go there and try to do something, whatever he tries to do. Either helpful or unhelpful based on how sensible he is, but he will attempt to take some action. Now this combination that he has become active because of it is the combination of the mind and intellect playing together. That is why it says here, when a person is balanced in both, you are active. If your intellect predominates, you're an intellectual. If your mind predominates, you're emotional. But if they both are equal, that means they're both functioning at the same time. Then a compound is created. That compound is called action.
Unless you take action in this particular case, intellectualization or emotional doesn't help. So, I mean, you would think that the intellectual is just theoretical based person. So, I mean, action is needed in this case. In most cases, I mean, even if you're intellectual.
No, I mean, action for an intellectual is to think. That is his action. I mean, it's not necessary that we are not trying to be helpful or unhelpful here. What we are trying to do is only analyze how a person reacts to things. Change the example, take a party. Something is happening at the party, somebody is having a discussion, something's happening at the party. The intellectual is going to think in terms of the cause and effect and analysis and whatever. Think like that. The emotional person will say, oh, so boring. Why are these people talking so much? Let's कुछ अपनी बात करो ना. Have you ever heard that? ये सब क्यों बात कर रहे हो? अपनी बात करो. Means they want to have an emotional contact with the person. They don't want to have a discussion on, I don't know, what's happening in Dehradun. अपनी बात करो, बच्चों के साथ क्या हो रहा है, you know. And the physical person will do what? He say, चलो भाई मैं कुछ मदद करूँ, खाना लाते हुए, something. It's not to do with, we're not discussing what is their level of it. An intellectual could be a very gross person, right? So we're not discussing levels. We're just talking about with which equipment are you reacting. That's all the example is supposed to say.
Okay, thank you.
So how will you know whether you're active or emotional or intellectual? By seeing yourself. What are you doing? I mean, I noticed this. Many women talk like this. It always used to perplex me. As a child, it used to perplex me. तो उसके बेटे ने कुछ किया तो मैं क्या करूँ? Used to be my theory on the matter. Like, say something interesting, I would say. Very boring. अच्छा, आपका बेटा क्या कर रहा है? करने दो ना जो कर रहा है, मैं क्या करूँ? But you know, I used to see my mother and the aunts and all of them. They used to talk like this. तो उसके बेटे ने ये किया, उसकी बेटी ने वो किया, और फिर उसका ये हुआ, उसका वो हुआ. Like, okay. So मैं क्या करूँ अब? So I used to leave this company and I go play with my cousins. So boring to listen to all of this. But for them, you know, and I've noticed also, I've heard wives talk to their husbands like that when their husband says something about, I don't know, politics or economics or something. They'd say, ये सब छोड़ो जी, अब कुछ काम की बात करो. Like, you know, you want to, yeah, you talk on matters of emotional interest, not of this. So you have to see what you feel happy doing. Whatever you feel happy doing indicates your Swadhyaya. Your happiness, your satisfaction is a very good indication of what's going on. We don't treat our happiness with as much respect as it is due. Because, you know, if your car is running very well, have you noticed the sound it makes? Any gadget, it's just purring along, as it were. And if something is wrong, you first know it because you're hearing something wrong, right? Something wrong here. So similarly, with this constitution, if you're handling this constitution well, it should be purring along. We're going on very well. And if you're experiencing agitation, you have to know that you're not handling something well. There's khad going on. So it's very important that you take note of when you're satisfied. What happens when we are satisfied is we are satisfied. So we are really bothered because ab sab theek hai. We only notice when there's an agitation. But we have to notice when we are satisfied because that tells us a lot about ourselves. See, now I'm feeling fine. Right? So how do you figure this out? How do you figure out your level or your constitution by seeing what satisfies you. You just feel nice. Right. Then now, so far so good. Now next one. Who will read this?
Can I, Janki-ji?
Please.
Spiritual disciplines are imparted to the mind and intellect to rehabilitate them, chasten your mind's emotions, subtleize your intellectual thoughts. To achieve this, you need to administer appropriate spiritual practice in accordance with the nature of the inner constitution. One medicine cannot take care of all diseases. The emotional need to take to the path of devotion, the intellectual need the path of knowledge, and the active path of action. But in the world today, these three classes of people take up courses at random, and the spiritual practices in vogue are all indiscriminately mixed up. They have no method, system supporting them. People usually follow a religious practice because they're born into it or because of environmental influence or certain circumstance or opportunity that came their way. Rare indeed are they based on analysis and choice as per their individual requirement. Consequently, religion has produced little effect upon humanity. So it is said that all the spiritual disciplines that one has to take has to be properly understood first, and it cannot be just as we cannot have one cure for all diseases, so also a person can't just take up randomly any path that he wants. Depending on his inner nature, he needs to decide whether he needs to be whether he's an intellectual or he's the devotional one, or if he's balanced in both, he can be the active one. So because this is not systematically done, that is why religion per se has not had little effect upon humanity.
Good.
Yeah. So Janki-ji, I just had a question, if I may ask. So it says that it just gives an impression that the emotional, neither the emotional nor the intellectual are active. In the last para also, when it was said that that they do, the balanced ones are the ones which are active. But it can so happen, you can be intellectual and you can be active. So also you can be emotional and you can be active too. So I just wanted a clarity on that.
Everybody is a mixture of all three.
Okay. So
the part which is active is active.
That will be active. Okay.
Yeah, Komal.
Yes, namaste, Janki. What question comes to my mind when I was reading this is like it means it's not in your hand where you are born, you take up that religion mostly, and circumstances, what came your way, what kind of people you met, what opportunities came to you. So it's a mixture of all that. So it's not you who is deciding where you will be and what will you be doing. It's all other factors which are deciding. So how to find out? Who will tell you like this is not good for you since you have not chosen that? Maybe. So that's my question.
Your own intellect. Until we are exposed to intellectual growth, we are all living a conditioned life.
Yes.
Right. So why am I Hindu? My parents were Hindu, so I'm Hindu. Why am I doing this particular ritual? My parents did it, so I'm doing. Why am I going to this particular place? Well, all my friends used to go, so I'm. So we live a very conditioned life. That's what he's saying. So now
Yes.
that you've come here means come to section 3 of the book, he's drawing our attention to the fact that are these decisions that we have got really our own? Or are they merely the mechanical continuation of something of the past? That's why you're going to analyze what is religion, what is my constitution, and what part I'm going to fit with one. So that's what we're going to do now. But yes, mostly that's not what happens, right? Mostly what happens is चलती का नाम गाड़ी जो चल रहा है वही चलता रहे.
I'm talking about most of the people, like those who have not come to this path. So everybody is conditioned life, so it is not their fault also.
Of course not. It's not that it's never anyone's fault, one way or the other. But a human being has the opportunity to go with the condition or to think for themselves. 9 out of 10 people choose to go with the conditioning. I mean,
Condition.
it's a default choice. They're not making a choice. But it is
Right.
still a choice because they could have always chosen to think for themselves. But they won't.
Right. Thank you.
Right? So you have to start thinking for yourself, figure out what does religion have and what do you have and what you're going to match with what. Not just random because everybody did it, I'm doing it. Then you and all these are clear, right? What can you give examples of all of these? It's clear, or should we deep dive into it? People usually follow a religious practice because they are born into it. That's clear enough. We're all born in some religion. Or some people are born to atheist parents. But it's the same thing. You're an atheist because your parents were atheists. That's why people change their religions or spiritual quest once they analyze themselves. Unfortunately, that's not true. People don't change their religion out of analysis. Whether you stay or whether you go, usually it is all the mind. There are so many people in our country are converting to other religions because of, it's like you go to a poor person and say, look, I'll give you some food, convert to my religion. Why will that person not convert? So there's no real analysis going on. It's just conditioning of the past. Past means everything. Environmental influences, somebody telling you, come to this religion. Very surprising. The staff in our house, all from the same community. They're all Telugus. I don't know why all the Telugu are staff in our house, but the whole bunch of Telugu. Now, some of them are of X religion and some of them have continued to be Hindus. Now, why did those people who chose to be of a different religion be of a different religion? Because wahan jaakar ye milta hai. So the others say, we joined that only for that. And they have their little no joke going on between themselves. So, do you think that these people who shifted over to the other religion did it with any analysis other than the fact that they were getting something?
Janki, I had a query because see, a lot of times the lowest, I mean, unfortunately we follow the caste system, but which I don't agree with, but the lowest, like the Dalits and all, they convert to Buddhism because they feel the caste system does not match their, it's not correct. So they have a lot of time converted to Buddhism. So, I mean, that could be an analysis too, right? I mean,
I don't know what did the person think themselves? Were they told to do so by their head? No. Usually it's mass, na? Sabhi kar rahe hain, to hum bhi kar rahe hain. Otherwise, nobody that easily is happy to convert. They have to get the whole lot. So in this thing, when they're trying to reconvert them back, they also have to get the whole lot back. Because nobody just does it by themselves. It's all herd mentality.
yeah, there is mass conversion
Always mass.
in this case. Yeah.
Even voting is mass. This whole community will vote for that. That whole community will vote for that. Who's thinking that?
Thinking also is there. Like what I have seen is many people are following Sanatan Dharma and reading Upanishads and all, in spite of their Christianity and all. Like here also, I see many foreigners who are coming and reading scriptures and all. That may be because of they have analyzed that there is a higher truth in these things, which is not in their religion, maybe. So,
You can't make that statement. All the religions have the same truth, but somebody has to explain it, no, from them.
yeah, so
Whether
maybe
people are
they are
doing
not.
it or not,
They are
yeah,
only in rituals and all, and they are not going deep down into that religion.
yeah.
And in this scriptures, they go deep down into that.
Yeah, we have a more active living tradition on thinking for yourself, which many of the other religions don't seem to have, but their texts will teach them the same thing if somebody bothers to think about it. So we don't know. We can't tell whether anyone is analyzed or not. So I'm only responding to what Meera is saying, that people change their religion or spiritual quest once they analyze themselves. Maybe not.
Can be both. Yes.
Could be either. Okay, so next one. Oh, wait, sorry, we didn't finish them. So, you're born into it is easy to understand. Then, because of environmental influence, give me examples of environmental influence.
Peers, their peer pressure or like what they are doing. So you also.
मैं भी कर रही हूँ.
हाँ,
No,
मैं भी
सब
कर
लोग
रही
जा
हूँ.
रहे हैं.
हाँ.
So many times from Mumbai, I notice, our whole group is going to Shirdi. So आप क्यों गए? My husband, as you know, is Parsi. So I have not been to Shirdi. So I was surprised to find that he had been to Shirdi. So I said, what? Why did you go to Shirdi? He said, all the friends were going. He also went to Shirdi. And I lena na dena, but he's gone to Shirdi. So why do you do it? Environmental influences. All the boys, like from college or whatever, I don't know from where, they all decided to take a trip. Where did they decide to go? Shirdi. So anybody is in the group will go. Environmental difference, environmental influence, or circumstance or opportunity that came there. Even environment means people offering you some gift for joining the religion or something. That's also. And then some circumstance or opportunity that came their way. Like it may happen that as a child, you got exposed to a Vedanta teacher. So that is there in your head, ki Vedanta. Yesterday we had a lady from, where did she come? South Korea. She must have lived in the US because she said she met Vedanta in the US. So in the US, she happened. Obviously she's not gone in search of Vedanta, right? So a South Korean lady, she has no idea what this is. Somebody told her something about Vedanta. She met Vedanta in South Korea. And just an opportunity, a circumstance that came your way. It may not have been Vedanta, it could have been Buddhist philosophy, or it could have been Socrates, or it could have been anything. But it happened to be this one. So a circumstance or opportunity that came their way. Rare indeed are based on analysis and choice as per their individual requirements. Like how many people do you know who went to a religion because they said, okay, this is my Swadharma, this is what I need. Never happens, right? Prakash, when rituals are understood properly, no problem in practicing it. Blind following may be wrong. I don't know why you're saying that. We are not saying anything about following rituals. What you're saying is true, but I don't see the relevance of that statement here. We are not recommending anyone do something or recommending that they don't do it. All we're discussing is how you went there. So the point here is you could have done it because you're born into it, or you're doing it because of environmental influence, or certain circumstances, opportunity that came their way. This is why they're doing it. We're not discussing whether it's right or wrong. Everything you do because other people tell you to do, it's not wrong, right? Other people have told you brush your teeth. That doesn't make it wrong. We're not discussing right or wrong. We're discussing why did you choose to, how did you come to do it? Okay. Okay, let's continue. Yes, Komal.
And just before that, one thing came to the mind, like if you really understand yourself, Swadharma and your real nature you want, then no religion is required as such. I'm just making a plain statement. If you have understood that, then you don't feel like getting attached to any religion.
Why? Why would you say that?
Because All religions are doing the same thing, but ultimately they are concluding to that point where you don't need all these kind of rituals and books and all. Since you have just started going inside and exploring that, a religion will not help you, it seems.
That's not true. Religion is all the methods. Going inside, exploring is one of the methods of religion.
So it is compulsory to be in any of the religion.
Nothing is
Mm.
compulsory. Nothing is compulsory. Being in is not compulsory. Being out is also not compulsory. All of these are just various methods. You can use ritual, you can use bhajan, you can go into contemplation. They're just different methods. And religion is, the job of religion is to tell you of these various methods. And you have the option to use them all also, if you so desire. Or use one, or use another method. You have all these options in the world. But you must know what your options are, and then choose whatever you want. Now we come to the next part. Remember, what are the two things you need to know? Oh, Meera. So being an atheist is okay. Meera, of course, everything is okay. You can be an atheist or not. It's up to you. It's your choice, right? How can we tell anybody whether they should be theist or atheist? It's their choice. If they choose to be an atheist, well, that's that. And they say, no, I'm theist, then that's that. हमें क्या लेना देना? The point is not whether you claim, whether you're a theist or atheist. The point is, what are you trying to do? Many people in Jnana Yoga will claim to be atheist. When they are saying atheist, what do they mean? So it's always good to understand definitions. So many intellectuals reject the concept of a personal God who takes personal interest in your well-being. Okay, so if you take it like that, now you tell us, are you atheist or theist? A personal God taking personal interest in your well-being. Like you will pray to him and he will then take care of you. Now, many people in this class may say, no, I don't think I subscribe to that. And some people will say, no, I do subscribe to it. It doesn't matter. Who are we to say to anyone what you should subscribe to? So being an atheist is okay. To answer the question, yes, okay. Just as being theist is okay. The important thing to understand is neither the theist nor the atheist understand it.
Thank you, Jan.
So now remember, there were two things involved. What were the two things? What were the two things?
What and where?
What you are and where you are. What have we just covered? What happened to you all? What have we just covered?
Like what is our constitution and who we are and where, what
Okay,
were our
no, two things,
circumstances?
only two things. Did you cover what or where?
What?
So now we will do where. Okay, what we have covered. Now we have to do where. So let's go to where. Oops, sorry, we missed one paragraph. Right, one more explanation of what. Who will read this?
Shall I do it again?
What happened to everybody else? Sanjay Sen, were you still there? I had seen you some time ago, but now you seem to have not. I can't seem to see you anymore. Sanjay Sen? What happened? You all have all gone away. What about L.C. Rao? L.C. Rao, are you new to the class? I have not seen this name before. Only names are there, nobody's really there. Okay, Ashya. Ashya, will you read the next para?
Furthermore, even those classified as emotional, intellectual, or active do not carry each one's particular trait only. No person is wholly emotional, wholly intellectual, or wholly active. Each has its own trait in predominance and the other two traits as well in less degree. Hence, the three spiritual paths must be followed in the proportion of one's constituent nature. For instance, a person who is 70% intellectual, 10% emotional, and 20% active must put in 70% of his time and effort in the path of knowledge, 10% in devotion, and 20% in action. Thus, programming your diagnosis and treatment methodically, your progress in the spiritual path would be meteoric. Failing to observe a systematic procedure, your progress will be slow, or you may remain stagnant, perhaps deteriorate. So the paragraph is saying, according to our a proportion of intellectual, emotional, and action, we should do that practically.
Right.
Otherwise, it will be detrimental.
Right. So point one is everyone is a combination of all three, and we must do our spiritual path in accordance to our particular combination, our particular constitution. And then you see the great rise. If you don't do it in terms of your constitution, then there's some deterioration. There will be unnecessarily be doing something. So there can be deterioration or stagnation, or at least slow. Think of it like this. A car has got four wheels. It's meant to go on those four wheels. If you try to drive it on only one wheel, obviously it will not go in the way it's supposed to go. So you have to do, basically, everybody has to do all three. The only difference is how much of each. LC Rao. Sorry, ma'am, I muted this due to some. Okay, no problem, LC Rao. You can read next time. Yes, Ashya, you have a question?
Yeah, Janki-ji, since if we go by the proportion according to our temperament, then the knowledge will be remain the same. So shouldn't we keep increasing that particular percentage little by little?
No. Because don't think that only one of these three yogas take you there. All the three yogas take you there. The yoga should be seen, didn't we cover that point that the yoga should be seen as a medicine? Did we cover? We did that, no, somewhere?
But Janki-ji, moksha can be got only by...
Sorry, just think of it like this. That if yoga is a medicine, and you have three diseases, action, emotion, and intellection. You have three diseases. So you will have to take medicine for all these three diseases in the proportion of those diseases. Right? So if your intellect disease is only 20%, why will you take medicine of 30%? You should take only 20%. Because what you're trying to do is not build it. What you're trying to do is remove it.
Janki-ji, moksha can be got only by understanding, na? Only by knowledge.
Yes, correct.
So, usko to fir increase. If you don't increase it, then
it's confusing, no? Yeah. So you are increasing knowledge, but what knowledge are you increasing?
of ourself.
Very good. Knowledge of the self is to increase, not knowledge of the scriptures. Please distinguish between this. You know, we just use a short form, say increase knowledge. Increase knowledge of what? Increase knowledge of the self. How do you gain the knowledge of the self? How do you gain knowledge of the
Um,
self?
A major part of by Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. Majorly by listening to the scriptures.
No. Where did you get that from? From Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Shravana, Manana, Nityasana is only Jnana Yoga. That is how you gain information, and this is the process. Shravana, Manana, Nityasana is the process of Jnana Yoga. You are told in class that that is how you should gain knowledge of the self because you are in Jnana Yoga classroom. If you go to a Bhakti Yoga classroom, they'll give you another method. If you go to a Karma Yoga classroom, they'll give you another method. So it is not that this is the universal method. Universal is that knowledge of the self is got through Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Why do we say that knowledge of the self comes from these three yogas? How does knowledge of the self come?
By removal of ignorance,
Okay, ignorance
Good.
manifests as
vasanas. So removal of vasanas through three yogas.
yes, correct. Removal of vasanas. Or you can say ignorance of the self, whichever way, both would be right. So removal of vasanas. Vasanas are removed by what? Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. That you studied million times, right? Now in the process of Jnana Yoga, what do you do? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Ashia, okay?
Yeah, Janki ji, I'm going to think about it. Thank you.
Meera Bai attained moksha through Bhakti Yoga. Yes, so we are told, but obviously she will have done a little jnana and a little karma as well. But she was predominantly emotional. That's correct. So she did predominantly bhakti. Okay, so that's it for today, and we will continue next time. Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Janki ji. Hari Om.